So, Leapmotor launches in Australia with the C10 midsize SUV, and it's not amazing. So then we've got the B10, its little brother, and I'm thinking it's going to be another boring snooze fest. But boy, was I wrong. This is completely different. It's an impressively resolved vehicle. To me, this feels like one of the leading small electric SUVs in Australia right now. And I know that sounds absurd, coming from a brand that most people have never heard of. But trust me when I say this is not just another plastic lunchbox with Bluetooth, to quote a modern day sage. So in this test, I'm gonna test things like battery range, build quality, value for money, and of course, that Maserati-tuned suspension. Leapmotor is entwined with Stellantis. Yep, the same people behind Jeep, Dodge, Ram and Maserati, which could be a blessing or a curse depending on how you view those brands. Either way, it's something most other Chinese challenger brands and rivals cannot claim. The B10 sits in the hotly contested small electric SUV segment, where it goes head-to-head with the BYD Atto 3, Geely EX5 and MG S5 EVs. All of these are priced competitively, but the B10 undercuts most of them while offering more equipment. It's positioned as the value-focused option that doesn't feel cheap. And unlike most Chinese SUVs that drive with the precision of a soggy croissant, this one has real driving dynamics. I'll get to that later. The Leapmotor B10 range starts at 39,000 drive-away for the style variant. But the car we're testing today is the top spec design long range, which comes in at $41,990. That's a drive-away price, but only for a limited time, so check the Leapmotor website or whatever to find out when those prices might change a little bit. And that pretty much includes everything. Not a lot of options here except premium paint, $990. This one's called Starry Light Blue, and art fans will maybe notice it from... No one's going to notice it. Apparently it's from Van Gogh's Starry Night painting.
One art, please.
For context, the equivalent versions of the BYD Atto 3 and Kia EV3 are around high 40s, low 50s. So yeah, the B10 is very sharp on price. Warranty and servicing are competitive for the segment. You get a 6-year vehicle warranty, an 8-year battery warranty, and service intervals are every 12 months or 20,000 kilometres, whichever comes first. And cap price servicing lasts 8 years, which is above average. And roadside assistance is also included for 8 years. So Leapmotor is clearly trying to compete on running costs and peace of mind, not just the upfront price. The exterior won't win design awards. It's another bubble-shaped cookie-cutter design, although I reckon the rear end has a bit of Porsche Macan to it. There's nothing offensive about it, but there's nothing memorable either. It gets LED headlights and taillights, 18-inch alloy wheels, and a fixed panoramic glass roof that's genuinely massive, 1.8 square meters of sky. No opening section though, so if you like a blast of fresh air, you're out of luck. Well, under here there's not much to see because it's an EV, but what powers this vehicle is a single permanent magnet synchronous motor. I think I got that right. And it generates pretty reasonable power and torque. But on the road, it feels like a lot more than what's written on the spec sheet. This thing can really hustle. 0 to 100 in about 8 seconds. Back in the day, that would have been pretty fast for a hot hatch. Top speed of 170 kilometers an hour. But here's the key thing. It's rear wheel drive, and that makes all the difference. Power is sent to the rear wheels through a single speed reduction gear, like pretty much every other EV out there. And the B10 comes in 2 trim levels, and each one has a different battery pack. The base model B10 gets a 56-ish kilowatt hour lithium ion LFP battery, good for a claimed WLTP range of about 360 Ks. But this one, the design long range, gets a bigger, almost 70 kilowatt hour lithium ion LFP battery, which is good for a claimed 434 kilometers, but my testing suggests it might even get a bit more than that. The B10 supports fast charging, that's DC fast charging, up to 168 kilowatts, which is genuinely impressive for a budget EV and should charge this vehicle from about 30 to 80%, about half the battery, in around 20 minutes, if you can find a fast charger. Maximum AC charging is 11 kilowatts. That's like with your wall box at work or at home. So that's overnight or in the day charging sorted. Oh, and this also comes with a V2L or vehicle to load function. So it pumps out 3.3 kilowatts, which is enough to power TVs, appliances, camping gear, all that sort of stuff. But you will need a separate cable for that because of course you do. First impressions stepping inside the B10, this does not feel like a $40,000 car. Material quality, wherever your hands fall, even the plastics, it's surprisingly good. Synthetic leather, really, really nice. Personally, I wouldn't get the white interior, but Andy says it absolutely pops in the video, so that's good. You can get a darker color. And there's a sense of solidity. You know, the fit and finish is really good. And there's a surprising sense of space that belies this vehicle's small footprint. It's not luxury car plush, but it's leagues ahead of what you'd expect to pay at this price point. The seats, for example, again, really nice quality synthetic leather, and they're adjustable in 6 different directions. They've got really nice support as well. They're heated, they're cooled. You've got little fans, which is really nice when it's stinking hot. And the only quibble I have with the seats is that they don't go quite low enough for that sporty driving sensation, but it's a very minor gripe. It's more pragmatic than premium, but nothing feels cheap or flimsy. The air vents have a nice feel to them, the stalks as well, and the doors thud shut with a satisfying thunk. In general, it all feels pretty well built, although only long-term testing and solid feedback from owners will prove this point. I really like the steering wheel. It looks a bit sci-fi with its single spoke in the middle. A little bit space age might be off-putting for some, but I really like it. Beyond the design, it's actually leather wrapped, flat bottomed. It feels lovely, and the simple controls are really, really good too. You have to sort of use trial and error to figure out what they do. This one's volume, this one's cruise control, but they're also context sensitive, so they can do different things. But it's a great set out, simple and effective. All right, storage solutions, super impressive for a small SUV. Leapmotor reckons there's 22 storage cubbies. I could only count 13 or 14, but hey, math was never my strong suit. Now, it starts with this landing pad. Under here, you've got a surprisingly large central bin. It's not heated or cooled, but that's okay. It's big, it's deep, you can get lots of stuff in there. Then you've got the twin phone beds, but only one of them is a phone charger. And you have to have the key card there as well to start the car, unless you have the app on your phone, which most owners probably will. And the great thing about that is you don't have to tap the key card on the mirror to unlock and unlock. It's got proximity in it. You get near the car, you unlock it with your phone. Anyway, you've got one wireless phone charger. It has to go on there, but it should charge. Okay, it's not doing it now. It did before. It charges through the key card on there. So anyway, that's not too bad. Under here, you've got a nice little area for odds and sods. You've got USB-A and USB-C and a 12-volt socket. Annoyingly, the USB-A is the only one that works with wired Apple CarPlay and, oh, wait a minute, this is trying to charge. Maybe it's got 2 charge pads. It's actually asking me to spend some money. That's a bit weird. Anyway, we'll move right along. Then you've got these 2 cup holders, which are not big enough for, say, drink bottles, but they are surprisingly useful because, I'll fold that one up. You put your coffee cup in and there's little rubber grommets around the edge and it holds them really snug. I like that. I think that's really good. The glove box will take a 14-inch laptop, which is impressive. It's a big glove box. I got a mate who says 12 inches is more than enough, but each to their own. And last but not least, you've got some door pockets that fit the 1 litre and the Mega Gulp. It's back, just in a different colour. So the big 2 litre bottle in there, the 1 litre bottle in there. This is impressive for a small SUV. The infotainment system is one of the B10's interior highlights. This big 14.6-inch touchscreen has a great resolution. I think it's about 2.5K. It's responsive. And it also has, crucially for Australia, an anti-glare lamination on the front. You might not be able to tell from that angle, but it does have it, and it does work on sunny days. The menus and widgets are logically laid out. You can customize all this stuff as well. It's all fairly straightforward. It all works really well. And there's a useful split screen system. Check this out. You can drag that in. You can have maps on one side, the car menus on the other. It's, yeah, it's effective. Voice control is pretty good, and apparently it can discern which front passenger is speaking, so let's try it out. Hey, Leap Motor.
I am listening.
Open my window.
Okay, window at driver's side opened.
That's pretty cool.
Sorry, I didn't understand. Please put it in another way.
Put it another way?
I can't understand what you said. Could you put it in another way?
Infotainment features include built-in navigation with real-time traffic and charging station recommendations. You've got embedded apps like Spotify and TikTok, we're told, along with 2.5 gigabytes of complimentary monthly data. Over-the-air updates keep the software current. And here's the big one. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are included, both wired and wireless. This might not sound like a big deal, but the Leap Motor C10 doesn't have either, which has been a major criticism. Clearly, Leap Motor has listened.
The 8.8-inch digital instrument cluster is really good. Firstly, because it stays on the steering column wherever you put it, so it's always easy to view. And secondly, because it's got really high resolution, it looks great, and it's got reasonable customizability too. You can toggle between different layouts depending on what you're doing, and you can even add the maps on there, which is really nice. And it's not as advanced as some systems, and it doesn't have a head-up display either, but it gets the job done.
Both the reversing camera and 360-degree camera systems are excellent. The image quality is sharp, the guidelines are accurate, and the 3D view actually helps you judge tight spaces. And how's this? Bonus, it doubles as a dash cam too, though it only records to a USB stick, so you'll need to remember to plug one in. Still, pretty cool. 7 airbags, including a front center airbag, are part of the safety suite, as is rear cross traffic alert, active cruise control, lane keep assist, and more. It's a comprehensive package that matches or exceeds most competitors. It also gets a 5-star ANCAP safety rating, although the lane keep system can be a bit pushy on rural roads. More on that later.
This Leap Motor B10 is surprisingly spacious in the back seat for a small SUV. You've got this flat floor down here, so you just feel like there's a bit more room. And when you actually look at the size, it's 4.5 meters long. That's almost as big as a Mazda CX-5. And yes, I have a lot of room back here. Another element of that is this light white upholstery. It definitely creates an airy sort of feel. I think with a darker upholstery, it might feel a little bit more cramped. And the sunroof kind of helps it feel bigger as well. That is a lot of glass. That is really impressive, I've got to say. So even with a taller driver there, I'm about 6 foot, look how much space I've got for my knees. This is genuinely competitive with larger SUVs. And yeah, I feel like I've got reasonable headroom. The headrests are comfy. The backrests don't adjust, but you know, again, this is not a super expensive SUV, and amenity is actually pretty good. You've got little hooks here, the grab handles. There's no lights, which is a bit of a shame, but that's okay. You've got 2 air vents. You've got USB-A, USB-C. There's a little secret stash, love that. Pockets here, pockets there. The windows, are they anti-pinch? Yes, they are. That's good. I actually didn't test that before. That could have gone horribly wrong. The seats themselves are really comfy as well. And the fold-out center armrest has spring-loaded cup holders and this little area here, which is designed for like bowls or cups with little suction cups on the bottom. Like if my kid is jumping in the car, I'm like, get in the car, Freddie, you're eating lunch in the car. And then I put his little bowl with the suction cup there. It's not going anywhere. You know, the Fruity Bites and milk is going to splash everywhere when we drive, but you know, that's pretty cool. Not bad.
You get 2 ISOFIX and 3 top tether child seat anchorages like most modern SUVs.
The entry-level model does not have a powered tailgate, and I thought this one didn't either because I couldn't find the button, but when you find it, you know where it is, so it's there. Anyway, powered tailgate reveals a pretty big boot. You've got around 500 litres of space here, and that expands to about 1,500 litres when you fold the seats flat, which is quite competitive in this segment. I really like this adjustable boot floor. So you can either have that extra concealed space under there to hide away cables or, you know, present for the missus, contraband, whatever. Or you can just put that down the bottom and have extra space all the time. And amenity is okay, but not great. Obviously there's no 12 volt socket because I guess you've got to buy that cable for V2L. There's a couple of bag hooks, a little light. This cargo net is actually quite lovely. They've done a good job there, but no tie down anchorages and, like all EVs, no spare tire. But it is pretty big. You can get a lot of stuff in here. All right, enough static chat. I'm now going to tell you how this Italian-tuned rear drive SUV dances. Spoiler alert, it dances pretty good. So I've spent a bit of time in this vehicle. I did the national media launch. I've had it for about a week. And the first thing that you really notice when driving this car is that it feels more planted and more resolved and more balanced than it has any right to be at this price point. It's nice. I would prefer to be a little bit lower in the seat, but in general, the driving position is good. You can get yourself in a comfy zone with the adjustable steering wheel and seat. Outward vision is pretty good except for that rear pillar. It's pretty hard to see anything out there, and there's those big outboard rear seat headrests kind of block everything as well. But apart from that, it's pretty good. The vehicle imparts a sense of confidence you don't normally get in a budget Chinese vehicle. The steering has 3 different modes, and the comfort mode, the lightest mode, is super duper light, but it actually works pretty well in the suburbs, you know, busy car parks. It's so easy to just spin that wheel, twirl the car, and away you go. Powertrain response is best described as brisk rather than brutal. And while 160 kilowatts is not a huge amount of power in today's EV world, it should be noted that this vehicle weighs 1,700 kilograms, give or take. So it's more than adequate for pretty much any situation you're going to encounter. There's no throttle delay, there's no turbo lag, nothing has to spool up, so it's just responsive linear acceleration. And this really helps when you're attempting to overtake someone on the freeway, for example, or you're trying to merge into traffic and need to get a hurry on. There are 3 selectable brake regen modes that govern how aggressively the regenerative brakes engage when you come off the throttle. And it's nice having that choice because some people will want lots of regen and some people won't. There is also an option for one pedal driving, so that will bring the car gently to a complete stop as well. And me personally, I don't mind it. I don't love it all the time, but sometimes it's a bit of fun, you know? It's sort of, you gotta really plan your drive and come off the throttle a bit earlier and read the traffic ahead, so it's a bit more challenging, and that's kind of cool. But here's where the B10 genuinely surprises everyone who gets a drive. Handling dynamics. This thing is fun to drive, like seriously enjoyable in a way that pretty much every other Chinese EV is absolutely not. And there are 3 key reasons why this vehicle is so engaging to drive. The first is that Maserati-tuned suspension. The second is a 50-50 weight distribution front to rear. And the third, of course, rear-wheel drive. You're pushing, not pulling. So yes, the suspension in this vehicle is tuned by Maserati, and that's not marketing fluff. Leap Motor International is majority owned by Stellantis, the parent company of Maserati, and one of the chief Leap Motor executives, who happens to be Italian, is on record as saying, yes, the Maserati team, and certainly the Italians, helped tune the suspension of the B10. Now, Leap Motor does not advertise this fact, which is a bit baffling because it's one of the vehicle's strongest selling points and what makes it different to pretty much every other EV, Chinese or not, out on the market today. On the mountain roads of Beachmont in Queensland during the national media launch, the B10 handled with balance and poise. It was surprisingly good through really challenging twists and turns. And if you don't know the area, those roads are tight and twisting, and they're the sort usually frequented by motorcycles and hot hatches. Body roll is minimal, grip levels are reasonable, and the chassis feels balanced and composed through most corners, which is a complete shock because most SUVs, and all Chinese SUVs most certainly are. The tyres are even staggered like a Porsche. So you've got 235s at the rear and 225s at the front, just like a proper rear drive sports car. I mean, whoever signed off on this chassis needs to be given a promotion. It is just lovely. It almost feels like a coming of age for a Chinese brand. And during the launch, I got to blast down a few gravel roads, and guess what? It's a lot of fun, especially with the ESP turned off. Indeed, the rear end gets a little playful in a way that'll produce a grin and a gentle fishtail if you're in the mood. And then in the city and the suburbs and, you know, all the places it's most likely to spend most of its time, it's also really, really good. And one of the main reasons for that is the super tight turning circle. And together with that awesome 3D surround parking camera system, it makes parking this vehicle an absolute cinch. Ride comfort is best described as balanced. It's compliant enough to be rather comfortable in pretty much most everyday scenarios. You will feel some big knocks when you go over potholes, but yeah, it's comfortable for sure. It's not luxury car cosseting, but it's far less bouncy and reactive than a lot of its Chinese rivals. And yeah, it's not luxury level smoothness, but it does a pretty good job overall. Refinement levels are another highlight, and that oil-cooled e-motor is impressively hushed in operation. Wind noise is kept under control and road noise is acceptable, except when you push the cheap Ling Long tyres. That's when you get a bit of noise. Range and efficiency have been really impressive in this car as well, both at the Queensland launch a few weeks ago and in the last week or so I've been driving this car around. The claimed figure is 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is pretty reasonable for a small EV. I've been recording mid to low 14s, which is pretty darn good and suggests that 343 kilometer range per fill is on the conservative side. I feel like I could get 450 out of this without too much drama. Obviously, if you push the engine hard, that range will drop, but it is not too bad on highway runs and is absolutely fantastic when you're just commuting or toddling around town. But this car is not perfect. There are some issues, and the major one for me is the Ling Long tyres. The Ling Long Sportmaster e-rubber fitted to this B10 is eco-rated, so it's designed to give you better mileage, low rolling resistance, all that sort of stuff. Problem is, they tend to protest very loudly as soon as you ask them to do a little bit of hard work. Push the Ling Longs with any enthusiasm and they'll start screeching like a startled cockatoo, especially when you're firing along nice, fast, twisting roads. But even at times when going around roundabouts, that was the first time I noticed it. Just going around a big roundabout, gave a little bit, and it's a shame. Had they fitted a pair of even slightly better tyres, it would have made a huge amount of difference to this car. But, you know, there's always the aftermarket. Once these tyres are destroyed, you buy a new set and maybe get something a bit better than, you know, D-grade Chinese rubber. The lane keep assist is overly intrusive too, especially on, you know, country roads and rural roads and stuff like that. And it, you know, it just wants to bug you and yank the wheel, and yeah, nah. It gets annoying really fast, and if my mum was driving this car, she would completely freak out when it starts meddling with the steering wheel. She wouldn't like it. She can be kind of judgmental though, I guess, yeah. Some convenience features have trade-offs too. When you're trying to adjust the mirrors, you've got to drill into a few screens and use these steering wheel buttons. That's not uncommon, but it's a few extra steps. There's no traditional key fob either with the car. You get 2 cards, 1 mechanical key. But again, you can download the app and most owners will do this, and then you've got basically a proximity key, which is pretty cool. The Leap Motor dealer network is currently sitting at around 20 locations around Australia at the moment, and that number is building, but it's worth factoring in if you live outside of a capital city. Depreciation or resale value is also likely to be brutally savage because this is virtually an unknown brand in Australia. And that takes a bit of a shine off the value for money equation. So those are the trade-offs, but I don't think any of them are deal breakers individually. However, they are worth considering if you're cross-shopping a vehicle like this against more established brands with bigger dealer networks and better resale values. So, should you buy a Leap Motor B10? Well, if you're shopping for a small electric SUV and want the most engaging driving experience you can get at this price, then yes, definitely buy one. You get Maserati-tuned suspension, rear drive dynamics that are genuinely fun, a polished infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, solid real-world range, and a cabin that feels far more expensive than it costs. If the EV battery range or perhaps the small dealer network concerns you, then maybe wait a little bit and bear in mind that there is a PHEV version of this vehicle on the horizon for Australia, so that will definitely yield much longer distances between fills and charge-ups. But if you're looking for a fun, small electric SUV that puts a smile on your dial every time you carve up a freeway on-ramp, then this thing is definitely the front runner. It's proof that budget Chinese EVs don't have to drive like white goods and appliances. This is kind of a modern day version of the Datsun 1600. It was meant to be a family car, but ended up being used like a sports car. Indeed, the B10 feels like it was developed by people who actually care about how a vehicle drives and how the driver interacts with it, not just an exercise in ticking boxes on a spec sheet. That's rare in the budget EV space, and it's refreshing. So, while Leap Motor's first vehicle, the C10, it's fairly forgettable, the B10 is anything but, and it's well worth a test drive. Thanks for watching, and if you found this review helpful, smash the like and subscribe buttons. And would you buy a B10, or what do you think of it? Let us know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.